Before we begin this journey into the heart of numismatic history and the hidden treasures that may be resting in your very pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button to join our community of dedicated collectors and history hunters who know that value is often found where others refuse to look. There is a weight to the year 2014 that most people overlook when they are sorting through their daily change. For the average man, a coin is merely a tool for a transaction, a small piece of metal that facilitates the mundane movements of life. But for those of us who have lived through the shifts of the world, who have seen nations rise and fall and economies transform, a coin is more than just currency. It is a physical witness to a moment in time. The 2014 South African 50-cent coin is exactly that, a silent observer of a 20-year milestone in a nation's history. If you are holding one of these in your hand right now, you aren't just holding bronze-plated steel. You are holding the culmination of 2 decades of democratic evolution. You are holding a piece of the South African spirit, captured in a press in Pretoria, meant to circulate through the hands of millions, yet destined to become a legend for a select few who know exactly what to look for. Think back to the year 2014. It was a year of reflection for the southern tip of the African continent. It marked exactly 20 years since the end of an era and the beginning of a new constitutional democracy. For a man who has lived through the latter half of the 20th century, you understand the gravity of that transition. You remember the headlines, the faces of the leaders, and the palpable tension of a world changing overnight. By 2014, the South African Mint was no longer just a facility producing money, it was an institution tasked with branding the identity of a new nation. Every strike of the die on a blank planchet was an act of historical preservation. The 50-cent piece, often the most ignored denomination in a wallet, was chosen to carry one of the most beautiful and complex symbols of the region, the Strelitzia regini, commonly known as the bird of paradise flower. But why does this matter to you? Why should a man who has seen it all care about a 22mm circle of metal? It's because in the world of professional collecting, the common becomes the extraordinary through the tiniest of deviations. When you look at the 2014 strike, you are looking at a masterclass in metallurgy. The bronze-plated steel construction was a choice of durability and economy, but within that choice lies the potential for greatness. We talk about the 2014 edition not because of its face value, but because of the whispers in the auction houses of Johannesburg and the private rooms of London. There is a specific quality to the strike of this year, a sharpness in the detail of the crane flower's petals and the intricate line work of the national coat of arms on the obverse that sets it apart from the years that preceded it and those that followed. As men, we appreciate precision. We appreciate things that are built to last and things that have a story worth telling. The obverse of this coin features the post-2000 coat of arms, a design that is a far cry from the colonial emblems of the past. It depicts a shield, flanked by 2 figures from the Khoisan rock art, signifying the first inhabitants of the land. Above them, an elephant's tusks and the rising sun. Below them, the motto written in the extinct Zam language, Kee Zarike, which translates to Diverse People Unite. In 2014, this motto held more weight than ever. It was the anniversary year. The mint was under immense pressure to produce a high volume of currency to support a growing economy, yet maintain the artistic integrity that South Africa is known for globally. It is in this environment of high pressure and high volume that the rarest eras are born. Imagine the floor of the South African Mint in Centurion. The machines are humming, the heat is rising, and thousands of 50-cent blanks are being fed into the presses. In the middle of this mechanical symphony, a single die can shift. A microscopic fragment of dust can settle between the metal and the stamp. A planchet meant for a different denomination can find its way into the 50-cent hopper. These are the moments that create the treasures we hunt. For the man who sits down at the end of a long day and empties his pockets onto the dresser, these are the moments that turn a regular evening into a life-changing discovery. The 2014 50-cent piece is a sleeper. It is a coin that many people spent without a second thought, but as the years have passed, the survival rate of pristine, uncirculated examples has plummeted. The market for South African coins has seen a massive surge among collectors in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. This is an audience that values legacy. They aren't looking for the latest digital trend, they are looking for something they can touch, something that has intrinsic historical value. They understand that as a nation matures, its early currency becomes the bedrock of its numismatic heritage. The 2014 50-cent coin represents the bridge between the old world and the new. It carries the legends of 11 official languages, a feat of design that requires such tiny, precise lettering that only the best dies can execute it perfectly. If you look at the rim of your coin, you will see the reeded edge. Run your thumb over it. Feel the ridges. In a rare specimen, those ridges might be uneven, or they might be missing entirely, indicating a broad strike error that could skyrocket the value in an instant. We often talk about the 1933 double eagle or the 1943 copper penny, but those are treasures of a different era. The 2014 South African 50-cent piece is the modern man's treasure. It is accessible, yet elusive. It is a coin that was produced in the millions, yet find one with a specific die crack through the Strelitzia flower, or a double die strike on the date, and you are no longer looking at change. You are looking at a retirement plan. You are looking at an heirloom. The historical significance cannot be overstated. 2014 was the year the world said a final goodbye to the icons of the struggle, and the nation looked forward to its next 20 years. The currency reflected that transition. It was cleaner, more modern, and yet deeply rooted in the soil of the African continent. The Strelitzia on the reverse is not just a flower, it is a symbol of royalty and excellence. It is named after a queen, and it is native to the Cape. In the language of flowers, it represents joy and magnificence. When you look at the 2014 50-cent piece, you are looking at the finest rendering of this botanical wonder in the history of the mint. The way the light catches the bronze plating, the way the steel core gives it a weight that feels substantial in the palm of your hand, this is craftsmanship that we, as men who respect hard work and fine tools, can truly admire. But beyond the aesthetics, there is the cold, hard reality of rarity. There are reports of a small batch of 2014 coins that were struck with a slightly different metal composition, a mistake that occurred during a late-night shift at the facility. These coins don't look different to the naked eye, but to a high-end electronic scale or a professional grader, they are anomalies. There are ghosts in the machine. They are the reason why we tell you never to spend your 2014 change until you have checked it under a loupe. You are looking for the whisper of an error. Is the 2 in 2014 slightly thicker than the others? Is there a small raised dot near the eye of the bird? These are the marks of a fortune. The suspense of the hunt is what keeps us going. It's the same feeling you get when you're out in the woods, or when you're working on a classic car and you finally find that one part you've been searching for years. It's the thrill of the find. The 2014 South African 50-cent coin is the ultimate find because it is hiding in plain sight. It is in the jar on your counter. It is in the cup holder of your truck. It is in the pocket of that jacket you haven't worn since last winter. Most people will look at it and see 50 cents. They will see enough to buy a small item or add to a tip. But you, after watching this, will see the potential for a dramatic reveal. Think about the men who have built the world around us. They didn't do it by following the crowd. They did it by paying attention to the details. They noticed the small things that others missed. That is the philosophy of the true coin collector. You aren't just hoarding metal, you are curating history.